Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and on this particular training, we're going to continue talking about field mappings. So now that we've talked about the types of fields or properties that can be synced one way or two ways between the two systems, let me talk to you about a few different fields that you might want to consider mapping from PhoneBurner to HubSpot. So let's add a new mapping and let's go to the PhoneBurner fields. The first one that I'd recommend that you consider mapping is the notes field from PhoneBurner to a field in HubSpot. You see right now with notes on the PhoneBurner system, when you're syncing this data between different systems through the API, they all go over as one big chunk. So you're not going to see the notes, at least not right now, showing up in the notes object or section of the contacts in HubSpot. You're going to need to create a HubSpot property to capture the notes that are being updated in PhoneBurner so that they're now visible in HubSpot. So I recommend that you create a new contact property on the contact information, or really any group that you want to put it in. And the type of field that you're going to want to create is a multi-line text field so that it has plenty of room to capture all of the information that's going to be captured by you or your team in PhoneBurner. Now the next field that I'd recommend you consider mapping would be the folder that the contact is in on the PhoneBurner system. You see, again, we use folders on PhoneBurner to help manage and organize the data within the PhoneBurner system. And so I'd recommend creating a property on the contact object called PhoneBurner folder. Just make it a single line text and create that. So that way, when a contact is in a specific folder in PhoneBurner, you can see what folder they're in on the PhoneBurner system while looking at the record in HubSpot. Now the next field that I'd recommend that you map from PhoneBurner to HubSpot is another folder field. This one is the folder technical ID, and it's different from the current folder because the current folder is the name of the folder. The technical ID of the folder is the actual ID of the folder, and you'll notice that the current folder syncs one way. Whereas if you map the current folder technical ID to a single line text field in HubSpot, is you can actually sync it two ways. And this gives you the ability to actually move a contact from one folder to another in PhoneBurner by making a change on the HubSpot side. This gives you a lot of flexibility in updating and moving contacts around on the PhoneBurner side. We'll get into that more when we talk about workflow rules and things like that. But just know this, in my opinion, is a really important field to map between PhoneBurner and HubSpot. Now the last field that I recommend that you bring over from PhoneBurner, outside of any custom fields that you create, is the dial session status field. See, every time you make a call with PhoneBurner, that call is going to have a specific outcome. What was the result of that call? I would highly recommend that you log that call outcome information to a specific property in HubSpot. So we're going to go ahead and create a PhoneBurner dial session status field or property. And again, I just recommend making it a single line text field and create that. And let's go ahead and add that. Now what you'll notice is some of these fields are two-way and some of them are one-way. For example, notes is two-way. Current folder technical ID is two-way, whereas current folder and dial session status are one-way. Essentially, PhoneBurner is just going to tell HubSpot what that value should be. No changes would ever go back because this is stuff that's happening on the PhoneBurner side. Whereas the technical ID and notes are two-way because one, the technical ID, we're going to want to use that to help us move contacts around on the PhoneBurner side based off of changes that happen in HubSpot. And notes, there might be some times that you need to make some changes on HubSpot and have those reflected in the notes in PhoneBurner, but probably a lot less likely than the technical ID. Anyway, that wraps up our training. Thanks again and happy dialing.